WPBS TV3 Sports welcomes you to Portland High School football. We now send you up to the booth and welcome in Steve Schwartz on play-by-play and John Coyne on color commentary.
Good evening. It's Friday the 13th, 2017 in October. This is Steve Schwartz along with John Coyne and Dave Elowich on camera with Dave Levine on statistics. We're here tonight at Fitzpatrick Stadium for tonight's exciting football action between the Blue Devils of Lewiston and your Portland Bulldogs. Last week, Portland beat Bangor handily 56-0. This week, they've got another test. It's against Lewiston, who is 3-3. That Lewiston has number 28, Garrett Poussard, number 21, Hunter Landry. Between them, they have over 800 yards and 10 touchdowns. Landry also has 6 receptions for 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. Those are 2 great track stars for Lewiston, and if Portland is going to beat them, they're going to have to come up with something tonight.
You know, Steve, you talked about the victory last week, and that was just a culmination of a lot of effort over the past 5 weeks, and they finally put together something for the entire game. They went 4 quarters. Sam Knope took leadership of that offense. Defensively, the Dogs came together. Zach Elowich had one heck of a game last week where he really elevated himself, not only statistically, but in the league. There's going to be some respect paid for what he went through last week. Teron Moss played a different position last week in a wide receiver and ran the ball a lot. Vin Pasquale played a great game. If they can continue that, Lewiston does provide a great opponent with 3-3, but if they put together that effort again this week, we could have a great outcome here and catapult them further into the playoffs.
That's right. And you talk about Zach Elowich in the year that he's had. Well, he's leading Portland in tackles, and he's 4th altogether with 48 tackles. He's got 1 sack. Ben Stasian's behind him with 41. On the other hand, we have Sean O'Donnell for Lewiston, who's got 8 sacks and 51 tackles, and he's the player to watch tonight as well. Folks, we're going to bring you all of the exciting action as the Dogs play to head into the playoffs. So, folks, that is a great rendition of the national anthem by Jane Quinn, directing the Portland band, who have made a DVD of the national anthem. We'll be back with the kickoff in a moment. So, folks, we're here tonight. It's both a breast cancer awareness night, and you'll see some officials wearing pink over garments in really honor of those who have survived from breast cancer and those who have made the fight. And also, we believe it's senior night tonight here in Portland. And we're going to get ready for the kickoff now. As deep for Lewiston is number 21, Hunter Landry, near us. And Garrett Poussard, 28. They're 2 star players. And Quinn Clark now will be ready to kick off from the 40. Go ahead, Ron. Boom. And it's going to be Landry. He's going to bowl his way up, and then, my goodness, it takes a lot to bring him down. It seems as though Nico Levitt will get credit for that tackle.
That's a pretty smart move for the Dogs. We've got Garrett Poussard out there, who's one of the leading return men in the league. Pretty good idea to kick it away, but you also see there that Hunter Landry's talented as well in that field. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully Elowich has got a chance to kick off a lot more tonight.
Or Clark, and hopefully Elowich doesn't have as much of a chance to punt as he leads the league in punting as well. So here we go on a quarterback keeper for just a yard or so. And their quarterback is number 12, Tanner Cortez. So 6 foot, 160-pound junior.
Now this Lewiston team, Steve, is a team that really has kind of made itself this year again into a better contender. We've seen them for the last couple of years be on the lower side of the Class A North. This year they've put up a couple of great victories. They had a heartbreaker at Deering a couple of weeks ago, up 18-0 in the fourth quarter.
That's right. He's got the fullback Colin in the backfield with him now. And, it's a pitch, and it's a heck of a fake. Goodness gracious, that's a great tackle by Teron Moss.
Yeah, nice inside move there, nice dive by Poussard inside, and you get that pitch.
It's about a 12-yard gain. Ball's on the 46, credit for a 13-yard gain now. 1st and 10, Lewiston. Cortez in the gun. He's got one in motion. And it goes to his big fullback the other way, who's going to get about 6. And that's, once again, Dominic Colin. Lewiston is 3-3 this year. Their losses are to Wyndham, Chevrolet, and Deering. So they've lost to 2 out of 3 of the Portland teams. They beat Oxford Hills, though, that beat Portland handily in the first game of the season.
Yeah, this team, Lewiston came out of the gates really, really strong.
Yeah, there's Cortez with another pitch, and that's going to be a nice tackle for a loss. And who else but Zachary Elowich?
Elowich set up really nicely there by Ben Stasium. Also, Stasium came up, turned that run inside to unleash Elowich there, and Charlie Eglin came over at the very end.
That's a 3-yard loss. It's going to be 3rd and 8. A very, very important play as the Blue Devils are now brought back over the 50 into their own territory here on their own 48-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 8. Cortez is back to throw. And actually, the only one that was even close to it was Vinny Pasquale. So
we know Vin's a good receiver, but I'm sure Cortez didn't want to throw it there.
So it's going to be 4th and 8, and there'll be a punting unit will come out. It looks like Brock Belanger. We'll see if he's their punter or not, actually. He's evidently not. Vinny Pasquale.
Tanner Cortez will generally stay deep.
Well, look what's happening. It's 4th and 8, and Pasquale is back to receive. Oh, here we go. And now Cortez is coming back, and he's going to go ahead and punt it. And the rush was on as Teron Moss almost got a hold of it there. And here comes Vinny Pasquale. He picks it up all the way out to the 35 on a very nifty run. It's about a 15-yard return.
Yeah, Pasquale has made a living out of those nice returns. He picked that ball up on the bounce. Generally, the backs will drop away from that, let it go, and let it be killed. But Vin Pasquale's been very, very talented this year in picking that ball up on the bounce. You get a little bit off of his chest, but
well, right, and I mean it's indicative is the fact he's got good hands, and he's a solid player. 1st and 10 from the 35. Teron Moss in the gun. behind center tonight, and he's going to take the ball and get brought back for a loss. Ultimately tackled by number 44, Dominic Colin, who's doing it from both sides of the field tonight, offense and defense.
You see there with Colin in there struggling to bring Tehran down. That ball popped out, but the officials had blown that dead. And we've said it before, you can see the game a lot better down there than we can up here. So it's fortunate for Portland that they blew that one dead.
It'll be 2nd and 11 from the 34-yard line, John. Moss in the gun still. Colin on the blitz here. And Moss is in trouble, and boom, does he go down. And Sean O'Donnell and company will get the credit for that sack. And, well, the Lewiston defense is certainly penetrating here tonight, John.
They are. We saw some growth with Sam Nope under center over the last couple of weeks. Quick passes to get the ball out into the flats. And he's quite adept as a runner as well. He's taken over another position today with Tehran returning to full health. So we'll see if Tehran can start to click as he did 2 weeks ago before he went out with an injury.
And Sam Nope is wide right as we have 3 receivers. Tehran's got that ball, but it's really just in a dangerous throw as Cortez almost intercepted that pass.
Yeah, he threw into triple coverage, and he threw under that.
It was almost like a Hail Mary, John, at midfield though.
Well, Mary's not even playing tonight, so he's got to get better at his passing at this point.
Here's Zach Elowich lined up at around the 20 here to get off a punt. The leading punter in Class A North takes a Portland bounce, and it's down at about the 40-yard line. So he gets credit for a 30-yard punt.
So we'll get the Dogs back out here defensively, let them take another shot at the Lewiston Blue Devils. You talked about it in pregame, Steve, that these guys have got a decent offense. They've got a couple of backs there that can really bring it. And when we went down the statistics there, every one of their backs with Cortez, Willis, O'Donnell, Landry, Poussard, they've all touched the ball a lot and picked up great yardage.
So it's 1st and 10 from the 40. And one or the other, this time Poussard with the ball, but he's stopped. Without much of a gain there. Ben Stasium gets credit for the tackle. Couple of yards.
That's really going to be important today for Nico Levitt and Jonah Green on the ends to be able to shut that down and turn those runs inside if they can. The defensive line's got to penetrate as well. The Koa Farnsworth's got to have a good game in there along with Kapongo.
So credit for a 4-yard run, 2nd and 6. The ball, Cortez keeps it, and Zach Elowich with credit for the tackle, along with Koa Farnsworth.
And that's exactly what they have to do to continue to be successful. They got to turn that inside, get those ends to fire off real quick.
Boy, Elowich really has come into his own, hasn't he? He's been a defensive leader, and he'll do anything asked of him. He can run.
Yeah, he had that highlight run last week, probably about the 25-yard line. Looked like he was taken down. He bounced out of that crowd and took it to the right corner up in Bangor at Cameron Stadium.
Oh, that's the second time they've pitched it, and Elowich isn't fooled. I think he gets credit for that tackle along with Torin Moss.
Yeah, you saw Nico Levitt continue to come in. He got a little bit in to the pursuit there, and he was able to put a hat on Tanner Cortez and let him know they're not going to get away with that too many more times.
So it's going to be 4th and 2 from the 48, and we'll see what Lewiston does here. If they they're full of a few tricks here. You know, they've got that fake going in the backfield and that play action, and now Here comes Cortez to back up to punt. So not really fooling anybody. It's a partial block. And it's still going to travel all the way down to about the 23-yard line, where the Dogs will have it 1st and 10 with 5 minutes left in the first quarter, and the score, 0-0.
Steve, that was an excellent penetration by the defensive front forward, Nico Levitt, getting his hand on that ball. It unfortunately, by getting a hand on it, it negated any return by Pasquale, but that's a heck of a thing for Vinny to be able to do.
So out to the side here, but again, not fooled, is Garrett Poussard. And Mador will help up a Portland player there, but it's second and, about. It's difficult to follow in terms of the scoreboard, given where the placement of the ball is on the field, as it looks like it was about a 2-yard gain. But the scoreboard says 2nd and 11. Regardless, there's a little pressure now, and here comes Moss. It's brought down at about the 29.
You see Poussard make that tackle there, Steve. That was a textbook tackle. Head out in front, wrapped him up at the waist. And we know what Tehran can do and how strong that young man is. And Poussard wasn't going to let that happen. I mean, it was a decent gain. He made a turn out of that. They were going to throw into the flats on the left side of that formation. And he was able to read that real quick, spun out of it. But Poussard wasn't going to let him gain 10. He got 7 out of that.
It's 3rd and 3 now from the 30. Moss cuts through. He's going to get the first down and more. Oh, he's brought down a couple yards beyond. But a 5-yard pickup there for Teron Moss. The ball will be, it'll be 1st and 10. We see Sam Nope limping off just a little bit here. But he's not really getting any help. He's just going to get substituted for by Silo Magno here.
So what we were talking about defensively for the Dogs, the Lewiston Blue Devils just did the same thing, Steve. Their ends crashed down, and as we've watched the maturation of Teron Moss come through, he was able now at this point in the season to cut up into that and not run it wide into nothing.
1st and 10 from the 36. Moss in the gun. He's got Elowich. And look at him go, folks. That's a nice gain. Looks like it's about 6 or 7. We'll see. Looks like a 7-yard gain. And it'll be 2nd and 3, rather. No, I guess he gets credit for 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4 from the 42. In the backfield with Teron Moss is Elowich. And here comes Vin Pasquale where there's a flag down on the play, and we'll see what the call is, as the flag is close to us.
An illegal shift.
So unfortunately, it'll get walked back. And that is going to make it 3rd and 9, or 2nd and 9, rather. The ball's on the 42. Teron takes the flip here, and he's a swarming defense, really, by the Blue Devils. And Sean Lake is one of the tacklers there, as well as Dominic Colin and company. Be 3rd and 7 now for the Dogs. Ball on the 39-yard line. An open motion, and it's Nico Levitt who
a nice move there. We saw 2-3 weeks ago before Moss went down his ability to start to learn how to throw with those quick passes, two-step drop out to the flats. He really hit it with Foley, who's not in there right now because of his injury, but we've watched him kind of grow in that role.
Well, it was a 5-yard completion. It wasn't enough. Elowich takes the bad snap, and he's got a nice punt here. Oh my goodness, running into his own player. But still on his feet is Hunter Landry. My goodness, what a run. As Elias Atkins and the little dance.
Christopher Vincent was on that tackle along with Jonah Green. And Sam Nope came out of the bottom of that. But, Steve, they've got a great return game, and you see exactly why there. It was a great punt. Looked like he was dead to rights back there, but he just kept on working and working.
That was about a 15-yard return. First and 10 from the 47. And we're going to have a timeout. It looks like it's going to be a Portland timeout because we can see Rudy Rutherford coming out. He wants to have a word with his defense. So, with a minute left in the first quarter, the score, the Blue Devils nothing, Portland nothing. We'll be back. So actually, my bad, as they say, that was a Lewiston timeout and an inopportune one, really, with just a minute left here as they had only had 10 men on the field. So here we go now. And the handoff goes to Landry, or Poussard rather, and kind of use them interchangeably. These two great runners for Lewiston. Gives Lewiston a bunch of options here, but Elowich in on the tackle there. It'll be second and 7 from the 50. A beautiful night here in Portland. In fact, it started off cooler today. The sun went down. It actually has stayed fairly warm here. I mean, you can still see your breath, but this is Maine.
Yeah, and we're in October.
Exactly. Well, there's nothing doing. That just goes too far and sails over Jeremy Medore, the intended receiver, and Vinny Pasquale was with him step by step. So it remains 7 to go. It's now third down from midfield. It's actually 55 degrees. The temperature has actually warmed up a little bit from parts of today.
It was 34 this morning at 5 a.m. I can tell you that for sure. There was frost on the windshield.
Okay, Cortez now back to throw. And this time he's got a receiver, and stopped before the first down is Hunter Landry. Zach Elowich. So, folks, that's going to be the end of the first quarter. The score is 0-0. We'll bring you second quarter action next on WPPS TV3. So it's going to be 4th and 1 with the generous spot as we bring you second quarter action. Steve Schwartz and John Coyne for WPPS TV3, bringing you Portland Bulldog football all year long. Oh, it's a missed opportunity, but it's a recovery and a first down.
They were certainly fortunate there that Tanner Cortez was able to pick that ball up, Steve.
Poussard gets credit for the first down. So 1st and 10 from the 41. Cortez in the gun. He's got one in motion, and he keeps it. He kept number 36 as a blocker for himself. We don't have everybody's name here on the Lewiston roster.
He's the mystery man.
What we can say is the head coach is Bruce Nicholas. The assistants are Spencer Emerson, Kevin Collins, Jeff Ondish, Tim Matheson, and Sam Adele. The manager is Robbie Hopper. And the athletic director is our friend Jason Fuller, who, among other great things, compiles weekly Northern Maine statistics for all media. Cortez back to throw, and he's got a wide open receiver. And good night, he is off to the races. Lucas Nichols with a 40-yard touchdown run. Pass and run, but my goodness.
Excellent execution, Steve. Jonah Green was in there and had pursuit of Cortez and was able to, again, put a hat on him, but it didn't work out. They got behind the secondary, and nice pass and run there for a 40-yard touchdown.
So it's 6-0, and now set to kick will be Jaheim Whiting. His holder is Brock Belanger. It's up, and it looks like it's through. It's going to be 7-0, Lewiston, 10:37 left in the first half. So here we go. For the Dogs, and it comes up to the short.
That was Sam Nope on that pickup. We
First and 10 from the 33. Here comes Moss. Looking for some room outside, and he's very, very close to the first down. And with that tackle, it's made by Hunter Landry. It looks like it's going to be spotted just beyond the first down marker, about an 11-yard run.
Yeah, Moss has been practicing that stiff arm move over the last 3 weeks. He's looks like he's put the finishing touches on that, having to fend off three of the Lewiston Blue Devils on the way out to that end, but.
First and 10 from the 45. Moss keeps it straight up the middle. Spun around, but forward progress should get him about a 6-yard gain here. We'll see what happens.
They got to blow that whistle a little bit quicker. I understand when the Lewiston guys are going forward that they're not going to blow that, but Tehran had a good 6-yard gain and then finally hit the back at the first down marker.
It'll be 2nd and 4 from the 49. Into Blue Devils territory as Moss back out now after getting a play from Coach Hartman. Moss back to throw. Watch out, it's a rush. And very fortunate to have gotten away there as he was in the clutches of the Lewiston defender.
Yeah, he's fortunate that ball didn't get picked off. There were three defenders back there all running with the receivers, and Tehran took a pretty good shot there at the end. They're able to penetrate real well through the offensive line there.
You know, if I was a basketball announcer, I'd cringe when I see something like that happen to Tehran. In fact, I do. 3rd and 4 from the 49. He's got Elowich to the right, blocking for him. And
yeah, he's trying to string that out, and his athleticism gets in the way a bit there because he wants to take that wide. We've got a flag on the play here. They're going to mark it off against the Dogs. Usually indicative of something like that on a play like that would be a hold on the offensive line.
And that's exactly what it is.
So, Steve, we talked about last week when we were up in Bangor the athleticism of the cheerleaders also, and we noticed today here in Portland that their squad is multiplied and then divided a bit. We've got some of the Portland youth football cheering squad on the field today, being the Dogs' last home game. Looks like they're out there trying to get that next look at the next level for themselves and growing that program.
There's about 50 cheerleaders out there tonight. Here comes Moss. He's back to throw, and he's going to go straight up at the original line. And he tries, but again, he's swarmed. Lewiston really with a great bit of defense there. And it looks like Connor Kaplinger will get credit for that tackle along with about 5 others on that gang tackle. It's a 15-yard gain, but Zach Elowich back to punt.
Elowich is averaging about 38 yards a punt, Steve. This is a great spot for them to pin Lewiston back and have that defense rebound from that last series that they were out there.
It's a high punt fielded at the 20. It's Landry. He's brought back by Moss and Stasium.
A flag coming in late on the side from the far side and the Lewiston sideline. We'll see what we have here. Block in the back against Lewiston, so they'll march that off. So it's what we needed there. It's about a 30-yard punt by Elowich, putting the ball deep, 10-yard return, but they're going to mark it back to just inside the 20-yard line, Steve. So if Portland can rebound, and we've talked about it as this team's grown over the year, now would be the time for them to buckle down. Forget about what just happened. Let your next play be your best play out here for the Dogs.
Well, John, we have just under 8 minutes left in the first half. The score is 7-0, and it's 1st and 10. As you said, Lewiston's on their own 20. And I see a flag on the play as number 44 is Dominic Colum with the ball. And it was at that stage you might think it's a holding again, as Lewiston's going to take a walk back.
So another note here, Steve, is that a couple of weeks back at Chevrolet, we were short a series of starters off of this lineup, and we've watched some come back, and we're still short Griffin Foley and Ben Levine, who aren't playing active roles. Foley is in uniform tonight, but Ben Levine's still injured, and we'll seek more medical attention this week for that shoulder injury he suffered a couple weeks back. So these guys still aren't at full strength, but what it did was allow others to gain some game experience and be able to perform, and we've seen that over the weeks. Those players have stepped up. Silo Magno's seeing more play time out there because of the shifts in what we've got. But right now at 7:43, we've got a timeout for the Bulldogs, and we'll be back.
So it's going to be 1st and 21 from the 9 as Lewiston is pinned back, and Portland has an opportunity here. The ball comes to Landry, who's going to just get a few of them back, maybe 5. We'll see where it's spotted. Elowich and Kapongo in on the tackle again. Ball's on the 13. About a 4-yard gain for Landry, and it'll be 2nd and 17. Cortez keeps it, and he is just manhandled by Teron Moss. And also Eglin was in there. 2-yard loss. 3rd and 17. Again, Portland here, if they can keep their heads about them, stands an awesome opportunity here to try to capitalize. 17 yards, a long way to go for Lewiston.
Moss and Stasium are back deep. They've got the responsibility of the deep receiver. We saw that in the last possession.
Yeah, and this time, Landry gets the handoff, and again, gang tackled by Portland. And again, Teron Moss, this time first one in there, Solo Magno. It was a 7-yard gain. It'll be 4th and about, well, actually a little bit more maybe. But whatever it is, it's going to be 4th and 7 from the 23, and we will have a punt. This time it gets off, and Pasquale will pick it up. He'll be past midfield now. Cuts, whoop, goes back again. And a nifty run back for Vinny Pasquale. There is a flag on the field. The 23-yard run, we'll see whether or not that will stay. Portland would stand to be in excellent field position, but that also looks like it's holding territory. Oh, block. I think a legal block by Portland, and that'll be marched 10 yards back.
It's from the spot of the foul, so that happened way back. So you get a significant loss. Pasquale fielded that ball at the 50, so that block happened deep in that backfield. It sprung him. He had some open lanes there, and you saw what Vin saw. Nice job there, and a little bit of a juke getting through there. Nice pickup, but at some point, nothing that we saw up here.
Well, you're right, and it's 1st and 10 from the 46 now. Portland in their own territory, so it's walked way back. Helowich has the carry.
You know, that right there, that's the way football was growing up. 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust. Give it to the running back, and you know these teams are successful. They're growing this product this year. They've got to groom a quarterback as we continue to move into the future. Teron's doing a decent job filling that role for these guys this year.
It's 2nd and 5 as Elowich gets 5 on that. It's ball's on the 49. Moss will keep it. And quickly whistled that time. It's just something that you spoke about earlier, John. I think Garrett Poussard and company will get credit for that tackle.
So that was a kick in the pants that the Dogs didn't need, but they're on this side of the 50 now. So it'd be nice to see them capitalize on this possession and run this clock into halftime and go in with a score.
Well, there was a 1-yard loss on that play. It's going to be 3rd and 6. Moss will come out wide left. Looks to throw. Oh, my goodness, he's upended, but we'll see where the forward progress is. Looks like it's stopped just shy of the 1st down, but it's very close. And the officials are going to call for a measurement, or at least the officials are going to conference. So we'll see. We can't really tell because
And you see,
Portland coaches and players are in front of the ball here.
should this not be measured for a first down, I almost wonder if offensive coordinator Rutherford will go for it. If it's, I mean, that was a nice mark that they got there. And looks like Nico Levitt's signaling first down, as is the official staff. So
Very
good
nice.
for the Dogs.
Yep. And for emphasis, Cameron Conley does the same thing. It's first down. Okay, so is that 3 first downs?
3 first downs would be great for these guys right now at the 39. So that clock will start running here pretty quickly once the chain gang gets back into their space.
First and 10 from the 44. Moss pitches.
Oh, nice job.
Nice catch of that pitch.
Wow, he's showing us some talent there to be able to put a handle on that one. He up and around his helmet. My gosh, great job by Zach Elowich.
4-yard carry, and great hands for Zach Elowich, let me tell you. Oh, Elowich gets low and down, and a great run. And it takes 5 Blue Devils to bring him down. Looks like it's going to be about a 12-yard run.
This is great clock management and going to a strength of the Dogs up the middle. Elowich showed last week his ability to get through the middle. He had on the way, I think he gained 35 yards on one of their possessions en route to a touchdown.
First and 10 from the 28. The Dogs on the march here with 2.5 minutes left in the first half. They're down 7-0 here at Fitzpatrick Stadium against the Blue Devils. Moss keeps it. Watch out, though, as Tanner Cortez is back there to get a hand on him and get him down.
So learning a new position there, you got to be able to start to read those blocks there, because Elowich came off of that, stepped up in front of Moss and absolutely pancaked the defender that came in on him and opened up a hole to the opposite side. Tehran had come out and turned to the left side. Never saw that, but he was wide open there.
2nd and 9 from the 27. It's a 1-yard gain. High snap. He scoots around, and the tackle is made by Dominic Colon.
Well, it looks like we're going to have a Portland timeout with 1:26 left here in the first half, and we'll be back after that.
So 3rd and 8, John, from the 26 with 1.5 minutes left here in the first half. An important down here as Moss is back to throw. And Pasquale was pushed out of the way a little bit, but there were 3 defenders really on him.
See here, when you're at home, run that play back. You run that play back. There's excellent positioning there by all the linemen, giving Moss great protection. And Elowich falls out into the flats and was wide open. As you stated, Steve, there's 3 defenders down there. They're all over Pasquale. Elowich had 20 yards there without a doubt if he had a reception.
Oh, we have no wide left. And a nice pass to Zach Elowich, who's going to get the first down.
I'm gonna at some point retire and get up here for play calling after watching a little bit of this, because that was the exact same play. So the staff, 2 booths down from us, recognized what was going on and took that opportunity for the same exact play.
It's a 10-yard run, and we're going to have a timeout here. So with 1:14 left in the first half, and the Dogs threatening, they're down right now, 7-0. Okay. So here we go now. Moss finds a little bit of daylight, spins. Can't get out of the grasp of the tackler, Jeremy Medor.
And Coach Hartman calls another timeout at the end of that play. 1:02 remaining. Dogs up 7-0. We'll be back.
7 now. The Dogs are out of timeouts. It's 1:02 left here in the first half. Moss now coming around to the left side, and he is going to get in the end zone. Touchdown, Teron Moss, 13-yard run, 55 seconds left in the first half.
He's that two-way threat, Steve. You can see him he rolls out to the left. It's an awkward position to throw, but he's holding the ball up as he's running and pump faking, making it almost impossible to penetrate too deeply, so you get that ball thrown past you. And then his athleticism, getting someone just to pause for a second, got him into that end zone. That was a great job by him to get in, and we talked about that earlier. Nothing could be better for the Dogs than to get in the end zone here to end the first half, and they'll receive the ball.
So, folks, that's good, and it's 7-0. That was not insignificant either, because depending upon what Cam Harris has done tonight for Chevrolet, that would tie Quinn Clark for first in points for kickers in Class A North with 13. So, folks, here we go. Quinn Clark kicking off now, and that is going to be a short kick. Oh, but going down before the 40 is the receiver. I think it might have been O'Donnell. It's tough to tell because I'm not sure that there's a number on our roster for that player. But with just under a minute here, it's going to be Lewiston's ball, 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. It's a new ball game, John.
Sure is. The Dogs will come out. They'll be strong here. I'm sure they got a nice talking to on the sidelines by Rutherford, the defensive coordinator, and they'll aim to slow this offensive juggernaut down. They got 800 yards, like we talked about, from their running backs.
So Pasquale with the nice tackle of Landry after a short gain, about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd and 7. Ball on the 41, about the 40. "16 seconds left here, though, in the first half, so unless they're going to throw one up deep, and they don't, they have the short pass over on the right left side, and Vinny Pasquale there to bring down Medor, and there's 0.8 seconds left in the half. The clock stops after that completion and tackle. And the rationale is there's a timeout. So Lewiston calls a timeout with 0.8 seconds left. We'll be back. So, John, you were speaking about a game last year that was similar to this, where Portland was defending a last-second pass, and Dylan Bolduck worked some magic.
Yeah, it was against Wyndham, and the Wyndham coach demanded those 0.8 seconds be put back on the clock. He won after a conversation with the officials, and Dylan Bolduck came back with a great pick six playing center field.
Folks, it's 7-7 as we go into halftime. We'll be back. So, John, the Dogs, after getting scored on, come back strong and tie up the game. Teron Moss has 14 runs for 68 yards, including a 13-yard touchdown run. Zach Elowich, 37 all-purpose yards. On the other hand, Lewiston had that really big 40-yard touchdown run. They're capable of making big plays.
They sure are, and they did that early on. We know what their backfield can do. But what we saw in the second quarter was Portland's bend and don't break. The growth that they've had, and the fact that Moss was able to have some excellent vision down there and come up with that touchdown. Excellent play, reading that to see Elowich for that pass that he had earlier. So overall, you've seen them grow, and to go in 7-7 at halftime and receiving the ball is a good boost for them.
That's right, folks. The Portland defense overall, they actually had Portland had more offensive yards than did Lewiston. And their defense was also really lights out. And, of course, who led the way? But Zach Elowich, who was in on practically every tackle that half.
We certainly did hear his name a lot, and we expect to hear some more of him in the second half.
Folks, we'll be back with second half action. The score is tied 7-7. So, John, we start second half action, and the Dogs are actually going to receive the ball with Lewiston kicking off from the 45 of the Dogs.
Yeah, we've got to start it off the second half with a penalty, a delay of game penalty. The Dogs didn't come out of the locker room quite on time.
So the ball is going to be kicked short down to about the 12 as Pasquale has got it. And he makes a couple of nifty moves there. The Dogs are going to be backed up to about their 27-yard line or so, where they'll take over 1st and 10 in a moment. So it's going to be 1st and 10 Portland from the 27-yard line. Back in the gun is Teron Moss. He's got Elowich blocking for him, and now he's got, very difficult as looks like there was some great penetration by the Blue Devils.
Yeah, they were in there. You got to take a look at it. One thing to be interesting, and we got to get some clarification on it. He gets grabbed a lot right by the neck, and I don't know where or when it becomes a horse collar or some of those things that you worry about the health of the kid. Getting taken down that way.
Well, it's going to be 2nd and 10 as no gain. Moss comes the other way this time. And this time he's got the first down and much more.
Yeah, take a look at that one in replay. Look who's down there with him. Charlie Eglin came off that edge really tough and strong, and he made that happen. He had multiple hits getting down there, and that was an excellent block by Eglin to keep that play going.
Well, it's a 17-yard run for Teron Moss. It'll be 1st and 10 now from the 47 as the Dogs approach midfield. They've dug out of the hole nicely here. And Elowich goes straight through. He's brought down relatively quickly, though, by a penetrating defender. It could have been Poussard. Probably about a 2-yard gain here.
Yeah, Cologne got through there. You saw Elowich come through that line with a great head of steam. He was met very quickly by Dominic Cologne, and they've already suffered by the work of Elowich today, and he wasn't going to let that happen on that particular play.
So, 2nd and 9, and Moss now, and he gets tied up. Now, Elowich really took down Garrett Poussard, but while he's on the ground, Poussard reaches around and snags Moss by the ankle.
Yeah, he certainly did. The wherewithal to get a hold of him, and you look at Moss. We've talked about his growth over the years, and there he was able to give up. He knew he was down 4 weeks ago. He'd have stood up and taken a couple more shots, but he's made some decent movement in that position.
Well, it's going to be 3rd and 11 now from the 46. Moss has 3 wideouts on the left, 1 on the right. We have a motion penalty, it looks like. We'll see. Dogs start a little too fast. So it'll be a 3rd and 16 now from the 41. A long way to go now for the Dogs here to get a first down here with 9 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. The score is tied 7-7. Moss gets out of the grasp of one. He's going to turn directions and go the other way. And, folks, he's very, very close. He's got the first down and more. Almost breaks it, but is brought down by number 22, Jeremy Medore.
That was obviously a broken play. He rolls left. He's looking up the field and was able to see behind him that there was nothing. There was nobody in pursuit, and he was able to break back and pick up the first down and more, bringing the Dogs into a great field position with his 1st and 10.
Well, it's 33-yard pickup for Tehran there, adding to his total, going over 100 yards today. 1st and 10 now from the 29. Moss has a rusher there. Whoop! Oh, he can't get out of everybody's grasp. We have a fumble, and I believe we're going to have a recovery by Jonah Green.
And Moss did the right thing there. You get 3 guys coming in. He stepped up into the pocket, nowhere to go for him, but he certainly saw that coming as they timed that well.
It'll be 2nd and 15 on the 5-yard loss. The ball is on the 34-yard line. This time Moss is under center.
Steve, you're going to start to watch this lineup by Lewiston, and they've got 7 and 8 guys up in the box. There's no fear there of this passing game. They got to start to stretch that out again if they're going to have some success in the second half. There's nobody more than 5 or 6 yards deep in the defensive backfield. You've got Tanner Cortez back there along with Hunter Landry, and that's about it. Everybody else is jammed up close on the line.
It's 3rd and 15. Ball still on the 34-yard line. And there's maybe an offsides there. We'll see if they were drawn off by illegal procedure or if it's an offsides. It is offsides, Lewiston. So that'll be marched up 5 yards.
It's Silo Magno bringing the play in, and taking a breath is Sam Nope.
And it'll be 3rd and 10 now from the 29. Back in the gun now is Tehran Moss. And that time it looks like we're going to have a legal procedure and go the other way. So what they giveth, they taketh.
We've been working together too long.
You mean we're finishing each other's
sentences? Oh, Lordy Lord. And we're both upset that there was no popcorn either at halftime.
That's true.
Jeez. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the kids in WPPS and putting this great product out and watching the Bulldogs every Friday or Saturday afternoon and this fall season.
Tehran now rolling out to the right. He's trying to direct something, but he's driven out by Dominic Colon.
We have a 4th and long here. We'll see. They're dropping Elowich back.
And they can pin Lewiston down here with a nice finesse punt here by Elowich. And it's a fair catch call. Oh my gosh, it's almost a fumble. And I'm not really sure what the problem is. It looked like the Lewiston player caught it, fumbled it, but also recovered it.
Yeah, he had fair caught, so the Portland players broke down getting there, and I don't think that either of them expected that ball to pop out. When the Lewiston receiver went down, he just covered it with one hand real quick. So unfortunate there, but it was an opportunity.
Nevertheless, though, the Dogs do have the Blue Devils pinned back to the 5-yard line, their own 5, and it's going to be 1st and 10. And that's a quick way to get out of a hole, is to give the ball to number 28, Garrett Poussard. 200 pounds, 6'2". So 2nd and 2, and a nice defensive play there as the Dogs hold and actually drive for a little bit of a loss. The Lewiston runner might wait for the official word from Peter Gribben. Poussard on the carry. Folks, Portland's High School Hall of Fame for football recently names its 2017 class. And among the inductees will be Scott Thomas, class of 1998, Jim Colello, class of 70, Coach Frederick Ostergren and Joel Connick from 1996. Take a break here for the play. It's 3rd and 2.
Oh, baby.
Oh, my goodness, folks. Watch out. There's number 28, Garrett Poussard, is going down the left side. He's got Teron Moss to beat, and Moss takes him down at about the 20-yard line. Oh, my goodness, John. We're going to just continue here. We've got Steve Stinson, class of 1992, and our beloved Peter Gribben, teacher, historian, and announcer, class of 1953, is also being inducted. And the class will be inducted on November 22nd at the Italian Heritage Center. For more information, you can call 207-329-5224. 1st and 10 from the 20 now, Lewiston. That was a run of mammoth proportions. A 52-yard run.
So you take away, Steve, 2 of these plays. That's about 90 yards of offense that in those 2 individual plays that Portland's given up. Other than that, they've played a really strong game.
It's a 70-yard run for Poussard. Goodness, that was just a lights-out run.
Ball's on the ground.
Fumble, and it looks like a Portland recovery, folks.
As the world turns, Steve, that's just indicative of what's going on with these guys. Things are starting to fall into place for them. A penalty here, a penalty there, kind of knocks them back in the teeth, but they stay strong. That ball was dropped at that exchange, and I don't think that either the back thought he had it or the quarterback thought it was gone, because that sat on the grass an awful long time.
Not sure who got the recovery. I think it may have been Stasium. But it's going to be 1st and 10 now, Dogs from their own 21. with Moss in the gun. 2 wide right, 1 wide left. Coming through is, we have a flag on the play as Elowich gets the carry, but a flag in the backfield. It's going to be against the Dogs. Procedure penalty. So it'll be 1st and 15 with the ball back at the 16-yard line. 2 minutes, 40 seconds left in the third quarter. The score is 7-7 here at Fitzpatrick Stadium on WPPS TV3 Sports. And another motion penalty as Elowich takes the ball and gets a few yards, but it's going to be called back. Now it's going to be 1st and 20 Bulldogs as they keep getting driven further and further back with each penalty. And it's getting a little harder to see them, John. It's time to put on the binoculars here. And here comes Pasquale on the right side. He's wrapped up by Cortez. He gets 10 of them back.
That certainly helps there, getting them out of the shadows of their own end zone.
We have it's like a timeout. Portland. So with 1:13 left in the third quarter, the score is 7-7. 2nd and 10 from the 21. Moss back to throw or do something. And, that was a heads-up play because he threw it to a supposed receiver, and he didn't have to call for grounding. It looked like that was Keegan Voss.
He's fortunate that he had Nico Levitt out, at least in the area, because he was certainly in the grasp there.
So it's going to be 3rd and 10 now from the 21. Of course, if the Dogs do not convert here, the Blue Devils stand an excellent opportunity to have very, very good field position. 10 yards here. And here we go.
Oh!
And that play is broken up by Cortez, as it was intended for the tight end, Levitt. So it's going to be 4th and 10, and Zach Elowich will be back to punt.
Excellent play there by Cortez. He was in the right spot on Nico Levitt. The ball was well thrown. Moss had a decent throw there.
Hunter Landry set to receive, alone back. And it takes a little bit of a Portland bounce. It'll be down by Stasium at the 45-yard line. We'll come back in a moment. The score is 7-7. 1st and 10 from the 45. 53 seconds left in the third quarter. And, folks, he's off to the races. Poussard all over again. A 55-yard run for Poussard. And just like that, the Blue Devils are up 13-7, and we'll see if they can convert the extra point here.
Well, you can only hope to contain that, and they've been a victim of 3 big plays. Other than that, their defense has held steady. We've got an entire quarter. We've watched the boys come back in this game in and of itself, scoring right before halftime. So you got to buckle down.
Yeah, that's good. The kick by Jahem Whiting. The score is 14-7. There are 43.7 seconds left in the third quarter. Okay, folks, we've got Whiting set to kick off now as the Blue Devils enjoy a 7-point lead. Pasquale is going to pick it up at about the 27. He's going to bring it back to about the 37.
Not a lot of space to go over there. Lewiston covered that kick well. They've had to have scouted and seen what Pasquale can do. They come down in a very controlled manner. There were 4 kids pretty much shoulder to shoulder to come down and shut this side down. He's on the far right side of the field here.
Number 3 had that tackle, Dylan Jackson. 1st and 10 now from the 39. The Dogs will try to put it over midfield. They've got Teron Moss to do it. He's going to go in and out and go into the grasp of Connor Kaplinger. It's about a 4-yard carry. It'll be 2nd and 6, but we'll probably do it from going the other way. There's about 13 seconds left in this quarter. There you have it. It's the end of the third quarter. The score, the Lewiston Blue Devils 14, your Portland Bulldogs 7. So it'll be 2nd and 6 Dogs now from the 43 to start the fourth quarter. John Coyne and Steve Schwartz here for WPPS TV3 Sports. Moss has all kinds of time, although he's got these people are on the move here. And he's going down the sideline to Vinny Pasquale. Oh, Vinny cannot hold on. He was open and heading to the end zone.
Yep. He wants that one back. Something had to happen there. Vin get a hand in there, or the defender or something. Great separation on his part. Moss lets go of that ball just a moment before he goes out of bounds, and Pasquale was wide open. They'll think about that one after this game.
Well, shades of Fran Tarkington with the way that Teron Moss was scrambling.
Well, it may be too early to score that quick. To give Lewiston back the ball. They got to work some off the clock. So maybe it was a strategic play by Vin Pasquale and
Vince Young. Maybe Vince Young, a little more contemporary.
Yeah,
I don't even think he's doing much these days. Cam Newton. We have a flag in the backfield as the Dogs are really pushing it forward, but that's going to come back.
a legal shift. So this is the second time that's been called on them tonight. So they got somebody moving, 2 people moving at the same time.
If Bangor does not prevail in either of its 2 final games, the Dogs should be in the playoffs, regardless of what happens in this game or the next one. The next game is the Battle of the Bridge in South Portland, and John, you'll be bringing that to our viewing audience along with John Kilbride. And a storied game with a many year tradition. Curiously, South Portland lost possibly to Lewiston this year.
South Portland's coached by Steve Stinson, who's being inducted into the Portland High School Hall of Fame.
Pasquale gets another chance, but it's going to be a loss.
North-south, Vin. He knows that. He's trying to make something happen. He knows what happened a few plays ago, that's the kind of athlete that he is. He wants to make this happen for his team. He's had the opportunity over the years, and now it's his time to shine, and he's had a great season so far.
It's going to be 4th and 11. Zach Elowich back to punt. It's a line drive, and it's going to take a great Portland bounce. It's going to go all the way down to about the 27-yard line, where the Bull Devils will take over in a moment. It'll be 1st and 10. Okay, folks, 1st and 10. Blue Devils from their own 26-yard line. Cortez keeps and is tackled. And it looks like Kapungo, and on that tackle along with Charlie Eglund.
Well, they're going to have a new quarterback in here for a snap because Cortez's helmet came off in that pile, and it's I'm not sure if it's an MPA rule or if it's a National High School rule. If your helmet comes off, you come off the field for a play.
Second and 9 from the 27.
Ooh, Kapongo in there getting through the line real quick.
And that looked like it was possibly Poussard who took the snap.
Yeah, they probably get the ability to go right into the Wildcat if Cortez has got to be out of the game for any reason.
It's 3rd and 9. And if the Dogs can hold here, they'll end up with decent field position.
Critical down right here for the boys.
As Tanner Cortez is back in the game. Helmet on. Back to throw. Nice pressure by Eglund. And we have a sack, folks. It's fumbled out of bounds.
Charlie Eglund had nice position. Nico Levitt was out there in pursuit. They strung that all the way out to the far right hash mark, far right sideline. Excuse me.
And Vinny Pasquale now set to receive the punt. 8:38 left in the regulation of this contest. The Blue Devils up by 7, 14-7, and if experience is any guide, then we'll see Cortez back up, and he did. And it's a short punt. And it's going to roll to Pasquale. He's going to pick it up at the 44. And he gets brought down by Kaplinger. So the Dogs will take over 1st and 10. 1st and 10 from the 49 now, midfield. Dogs have good field position, and Zach Elowich puts his head down and goes forward and gets a couple. As he's brought down by Sean Lake. Well, I guess the gain is 1, so it'll be...
So we got to take a look at this from the coach's perspective. With 8 minutes left here, they're going to want to manage this clock and wind it down as much as they can, and get these young men close to this end zone, get them in here, and tie this game up.
Moss now going out to the left side, but unfortunately no blockers in front of him, and he's brought back for a loss. He is sacked.
Oh, he had a blocker out there. The problem with that is that there were 3 Lewiston defenders out there with him too, and Elowich can only take care of 1, maybe 2 in a block.
It's going to be 3rd and 14 from the 47-yard line. 7-11 left in regulation. Play action Moss, and he's going deep for Stasium, but broken up by Brock Belanger. So Zach Elowich will have the punting duties once again now with just under 7 minutes to go in regulation of this contest. Landry is deep. He fair catches it, and he's going to catch it at about the 19-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 Lewiston. Dave Elowich, our statistician Dave Levine just told us that Mr. Poussard has 154 rushing yards already in this game. Goodness. Including that huge 70-yard return or run. We have a timeout here. So it's 14-7, 6:47 left. All right, here we go, folks.
Ball's on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. They picked it up. The Dogs pick it up. The break goes their way. We talked about it earlier, Steve, how things can happen and change for these guys. And it started to go that way as the season's progressed. And with 6:37 left, the ball hits the carpet, and the Dogs picked it up. It's just what they need. The ball's on about the 15, I believe. No, looks like it's on the 19. Nice play.
Moss has Pasquale. He dives and gets a nice little gain there.
So we're definitely into 4-down territory down here, Steve. They're going to use every bit of every play, every clock. They're going to get this thing going and keep it going.
Credit for a 5-yard gain. It's going to be 2nd and 5 from the 13. Moss keeps it, and he is just manhandled from behind by Dominic Cullen.
Yeah, Colin got in there. He penetrated really hard and grabbed Moss and stopped that from happening, kind of deadened that pain for Moss. So that dropped them back. They're on the 14-yard line. We've got a 3rd and 6 here, Steve, with 5:22 remaining.
The Dogs are on the doorstep of the goal line here. And nice cutting through there to Nico Levitt.
Wow, what a play there by Levitt to get that cross. He takes about 7 yards and gets across the line. They're going to give him a 1st down and goal to go. A nice play. Moss takes that stance, takes a 5-step drop, sets his feet, and Levitt comes through wide open. They're not respecting the pass game, and he was able to get one in there.
Nice 13-yard completion for a 1st and 10. And it'll be now actually 1st and goal from the 6. So here we go with 4.5 minutes left in regulation, and the Dogs are threatening. Moss will get through, and he breaks the plane. It'll be a touchdown, Portland. So a very, very important extra point try here coming up for Quinn Clark, who has taken over as the Northern Maine points leader, or Ken, with this kick tonight.
And he's got that very big piece out there with him. He's got Griffin Foley, who looks as though he's recovering somewhat. He's at least getting out there without that pronounced limp this week. So it's good to see Griffin getting back to shape.
Yeah, and that's up and through. It's going to be tied 14-14, folks. We've got a ball game. 4:21 left in regulation. So Quinn Clark set to kick off from the 40 now. A very important 4 minutes and 20 seconds left here. Nice line drive kick.
Oh,
goodness
baby.
gracious. All the way back to the 2, but Landry picks it up, and he is still going.
Oh, no.
Wow. All the way down almost to the 40-yard line, finally brought down by Jamal Mariba.
You know, Steve, that's when things like that happen, a little bit of over pursuit. Everybody's eyes open wider because they see that the ball is not being handled, and they kind of break out of their lanes looking for that pursuit and that big tackle, and that's when those things happen. They got about a 35-yard return there out of that.
It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 38. And keeping the ball will be the quarterback. He's going to be driven back for a loss. I don't know that he'll get forward progress even to the line of scrimmage.
No, that didn't look like a clean play. It looked real broken. Jeremy Medor was in the backfield along with Garrett Poussard. The ball went off of each of their bellies with Cortez leaving it in there. I'm not sure if it was broken or what, but that wasn't one of their most articulate plays this afternoon or this evening.
It's going to be 2nd and 11. It's a 1-yard loss. The ball's on the 37. Cortez in the gun. Back to throw. He rolls right. And he's got a receiver. He actually pushed off number 15, Jason Willis. I guess there was definitely some contact there. And he pushed off and got some separation. He pushed Vinny Pasquale, who was covering him, but gets credit for about approximately 25-yard pass play. Be 1st and 10 from the 36. 3 minutes left, folks. And a swarming gang tackle. As Eglin and Levitt were in on that first.
It's important to keep this clock ticking, Steve. But what they do have, they've got a couple of timeouts, as does Portland, and they're both going to sit on those as long as they can. Lewiston doesn't want to stop this clock too much. They want this time to run, but
we do have a timeout now, though. It's going to be looks like it's going to be a Portland timeout. So, with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in regulation, the ball is on the 35, and the score is 14-14. So, just for our information here, Whiting has no field goal attempts. He's 4 for 6 on extra points this year. And we can actually say 6 for 8.
That keeps the clock running there. It's good for the Dogs. With this amount of time, you've got 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes left. They're going to judiciously use that last timeout when they need it. But Lewiston's going to continue to push push here and see what they can make out of this.
3rd and 3 from the 28. We have a flag in the backfield. We have illegal motion. So it should be 3rd and 8.
I'll negate that. That would have been a first down run, so that'll negate that. I'm sure that the Dogs will take that and run them back.
So 1.5 minutes left as the clock ticks, tick, 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 tick down. 14-14. Three receivers and 3 folks ready to cover them.
Nice!
Interception! Ben Stasium!
Nice job, Stasium.
A nice return brings it back to the 35. The Dogs have 1:04 left here to put something together.
So we've seen today, Steve, what can go on if these guys are firing well. They've had a couple of big runs that are still in this game with 1 minute left. They've got the ball. They're in control. They've got to pick up a good 50, 60 yards here in order to get into kicking range for Quinn Clark. He showed some abilities through the season to get that ball there, but they've got to do some nice plays here. We're going to be looking at an overtime period.
So 1st and 10 from the 35. Moss will keep it. On the right side, he gets it up to midfield and goes out of bounds smartly. It's going to be called at about the 47 or so. Quinn Clark has had 3 field goal attempts this year. He has not converted on those. First and 10 from the 48. Moss takes the low snap, and he's going to go again. Changes fields. Gets a nice block from Silo Magno, but 47 seconds left here, and if they can't rush to do something, then they're going to have to call a timeout, and that's just what they do. So the Dogs now call what I believe is going to be their last timeout. The score is 14-14. There are 46.7 seconds left, and they may need all of that. So Moss now, here we go, ready to accept the snap. First and 10 from the 33, drops it. He's going to go over to the sidelines, but he's going to get a few yards first. So not bad, only 7 seconds knocked off, and he gets a gain there. About 5 yards.
You got to think of what's going through the kid's head there. I mean, we've known him as a stellar athlete on the basketball court, being able to control his emotions. But basketball provides a little bit of a different defense. You're not about to get your head knocked off if you drop the ball. You put the ball down low. You try to get to the sidelines. You're not going to get hit. So I give him that he made that transition here as the Dogs' quarterback this year.
Moss to the sideline. He's got Nico Levitt on the right side, and he gets out of bounds. So, actually, that's a 6-yard gain. During our break, we had a little play calling here by Dave Levine, and he has called it the last 2 plays exactly as what we had hoped for. So it's 1st and 10 now from the 22. There's 35.6 seconds left, and the Dogs are threatening. Got an open motion, goes to the sideline to Levitt. It's an incomplete pass, so it'll be 2nd and 10. Only lost about 3 seconds.
And that's fortunate for the boys that he did drop that one, or the time would have continued to tick. But you look at the ball on the 22-yard line. You had 15 to that for the field goal, and we're within Clark's range. And depending on what sideline you were sitting on in the Wyndham-Portland game, Clark had a field goal. It looked good from our point of view, from our vantage point, but the Wyndham fans will tell us that it was wide to the right. But we're getting well within his range. He's got the leg strength. That's just position on the field.
2nd and 10, and Moss carries in the middle, and you have to assume that he's bringing it to the middle so that they can spike it and get the kickoff. But they've got to get that snap down here and spike it now. So heads-up play as there are 13.8 seconds left here, and perhaps the biggest kick of Quinn Clark's career, John.
Yeah, we're going to have a timeout here. You're going to have Lewiston call this timeout where Portland has none. They're going to try to ice Quinn. And great job by Tehran to get into that position and put them right directly in the middle of the field, give his teammate an excellent look at the post. And we'll see what we got. We'll see what we got with Quinn Clark when we get back. 13.8 seconds, 14-14 here at Fitzy.
So folks, for the game here, a 35-yard field goal attempt by Quinn Clark. Foley puts it down. It's up, and it is no good. Wide right.
Yeah. We talked about it. He's well within his range. There's still 9.2 seconds left on the clock in regulation here, Steve. The Blue Devils will get the ball. They'll get a chance to run one play here. They'll play with Pasquale back, Stasium back to avert any long gains. He gave it what he had. He had the distance. He was a little wide right, and that's unfortunate for him. But we're going to have another chance. We're going to play overtime here today.
So that's going to be the end of regulation, and we'll be back with overtime. The score is 14-14. So, John, the overtime period begins, and the ball starts on the 10-yard line, and the Dogs here are defending.
Yeah, and it's also untimed play. There's no time on the clock, so it'll be just four plays.
Oh, gosh. That was a nasty hit.
Jonah Green really came across there and let Noah Dixon know that he wasn't going to get any further than that. So starts 1st and 10. There's no down markers out there. So basically, glorified scrimmage plays, but this has got a lot of implications for it. For the Dogs, it's going to give them some nice heel points with a victory.
All right, 2nd and 11. Or 2nd and goal maybe from the 11, I guess. It's really kind of a little odd how they get this here. But watch out, we've got a runner here on the right side, and it's Poussard, and he's going to... My goodness gracious, it took several to get him down, but first to get him down is Koa Farnsworth.
That Poussard's really showing. We talked about early on the amount of yards that he's gained throughout the season to this point, and he's really... been a workhorse. He's had a couple of big plays in there, a 70-yard gain, a 50-yard gain, accumulating 120 yards on 2 plays. It just goes to show you what kind of force he is, but he's got to be well within 160 yards here for total yardage.
It's a 3rd and goal from the 5. And watch out as Cortez is, he looks for his receiver, and it intercepted by Vin Pasquale.
There we go. Atonement right there. he was going to make that play regardless of what happened. He stops him, doesn't give him the chance for that fourth down. You know that's making him feel real good at this point.
Well, it'll be the Dogs' ball now from the 10, and if they run it in or pass it in, then they're going to win the game, John.
Absolutely, and what you know now, too, is we're well within range for Quinn Clark, starting from the 10-yard line. They get a couple of yards in there, and they might think about that since Lewiston wasn't able to capitalize, wasn't able to put anything in. You just need one more point than your opponent to win at this point. So we'll see what we get here out of the Dogs, what kind of play calling they'll have.
Were that the case, why not do it now?
Well, I think they want to take that opportunity of that big run. But you bring a good point, Steve. You could put the ball down and kick that field goal for a.
I'm just going to say I'm learning as I go, as it looks like Tehran had the keeper there and ran behind his blockers and got about 4 yards. So 2nd and goal from the 6.
So we're at a 23-yard field goal attempt if that was to happen. Looks like they're going to continue to push forward with 4 yards on one play. If they continue this, my math doesn't suit me too well, but 3 plays they'll be in the end zone.
Moss keeps it again, and Elowich and company try to push him through. And he's going to get another about 3. So it'll be 3rd and goal from the 3, and here comes Quinn Clark now.
So they're going to call a timeout, a Portland timeout, but they bring Clark out there, Steve, and part of that strategy is if the hold isn't good, if the snap isn't good or it gets blocked and Portland still recovers, they still have another play on the 3rd down play to bring him out here. So it's a strategic move to bring him out one play early. He's lined up in the middle of the field. The ball's on the 4-yard line, a 21-yard field goal. We know he's got the range. He's been out there before. He's got the opportunity to atone for what he's done as well. So there is no time on the clock. We've got a timeout by Portland to talk about this. He's telling the same thing we just talked about. We'll be back.
All eyes on number 17, Quinn Clark, his holder. The tried and true Griffin Foley. It's down, it's up, and that time it's good. The Portland Bulldogs win tonight, 17-14. What a game!
What a great ending to that game. He's able to make up for that kick just at the end of regulation and put it through to give the Dogs their 2nd victory, Steve.
You call it a streak. The Bulldogs pulling up to this contest 17-14 and overtime field goal kick by Quinn Clark.
Teams will shake hands. What a game tonight, folks. A game for the ages here as the Dogs come back and they get, as you say, John, they get their 2nd win in a row. They get a little momentum coming into the Battle of the Bridge. We'll be back. So, John, perhaps the most exciting game of the year. The Dogs come out victorious 17-14. Tehran Moss had 169 yards on 30 carries tonight. Zach Elowich had 41 yards. Nico Levitt, 23 yards on 3 receptions. On the other hand, it was Poussard on the other side of the line, 160 yards on just 10 carries. Folks, tonight altogether, the Lewiston had 172 yards altogether, 272 yards. The Dogs had 240 yards. and 214 of them were on the ground. But the name of the game tonight was really redemption.
It sure was. You watch Vin Pasquale drop a wide open ball, something Vin doesn't do. He knows he wants to get that back, and in overtime he has a key interception stopping Lewiston. And Quinn Clark at the close to the end of the game has an opportunity to put up a 30-yard field goal, misses wide right, gets a second opportunity in overtime, and puts the Dogs into victory. We got a 2-game win streak going here, Steve. Going into the playoffs, it's the right time for this team to start clicking. We've seen it throughout the season, but now it's happening for the boys, and I'm hoping that they gain that confidence that they need.
Folks, a very exciting finish tonight, and in overtime as the Dogs come out victorious 17-14. Next week will be the Battle of the Bridge. This is Steve Schwartz along with John Coyne, Dave Elowich on camera, and Dave Levine on statistics for WPPS TV3 Sports, saying so long from Fitzpatrick Stadium, where this evening the Bulldogs are victorious. Good night.